Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode with us here at Utah Valley Tesla. I am Cam.
I'm Kelly.
And this is our first time actually including ourselves, so bear with us. Today we're going to do a little overview on the best little things about owning a Tesla and then some of the downsides of owning a Tesla. So we'll start with some of the best things. Did you want to kick it off with that?
Yeah, so my favorite is that you can preheat or pre-cool the car with the app. I love being in line at Walmart and knowing that it's cold outside and going, oh, I'm just going to hurry and heat up the car so that when I get in, I don't have to freeze anymore. I tend to get cold pretty fast now that I'm not pregnant, and I really like the heat.
It is pretty nice. I actually like cooling the car a little bit more personally in the summer, but I don't drive it as much in the winter as she does. So that's one of the best things. One of my personal favorite things is the map in the instrument cluster. I love that when I put in an address, I don't have to be staring at the big screen in the middle. It just updates with a little map in the top left side. It shows you everything that you need to see.
I like it too. I often forget that it's there. I have to turn around often when I drive because I miss my turn, but it is very handy to look down and all of a sudden go, oh, this is where I need to turn.
It's just little things like that. They really do add up. Another awesome thing is this car gets better over time. So our car is just creeping up on 5 years old actually. It's pre-autopilot, so we don't have any autopilot hardware. So even at 5 years old and having 112,000 miles on it right now, we still get updates. I wake up to an update probably once every 2 or 3 weeks, I guess. And sometimes it's bigger changes and other times it's just a little thing. You've probably seen the most recent one if you follow Tesla stuff at all. It's kind of a dumb, nerdy thing, but Atari games. It's kind of fun to sit and play games in the car. There have been a few times where I'll just sit in the car when I pull into the garage at night and to decompress after work, and I'll sit and I'll play Asteroids on the car. I suck at it, by the way.
So one thing, especially with having a baby, which we forgot to introduce, this is our newest. He's a month old. By newest, I don't know why I said that because we only have one. But what I love about having the key fob is, and other cars have this too, but I just have the fob in my bag, or if Cam actually takes the fob to work, which he does sometimes, I can open the car with my phone, which is amazing. I also love that I don't have to look for it. I can just get into the car. It's very helpful with a car seat and a diaper bag. The fifth thing that we wanted to talk about in this video is never having to go to a gas station. So we come home, we plug our car in, and every morning we wake up to a full tank. That's the best. I hate going and waiting in line, and I always go to Costco gas stations and they're a mile long on their waits. So I love the simplicity of waking up and knowing that I have charge and I'm good to go.
Yeah, so if you hear people talk about you have to stop at charge stations, just remember, we don't have to stop at gas stations when it's 0 degrees outside and there's a line of 20 people because there's a snowstorm on its way and everybody's deciding that they need to fill up right now. I back my car into the garage, plug it in, I wake up to, like she said, a full tank. A little side note to add is that this is just kind of for where we live. There are other places like in California where there are charging stations where people do have to wait in line. So take that for what it's worth. I'm going to start with a downside of owning the Tesla, and that is that everybody thinks that you're rich. Ever since we got the Tesla, people will say things like, hey, why don't you just buy lunch, Mr. Tesla man? We're pretty average people. In another video, we have comparisons. We just sold her Kia Optima. When we broke everything down, when you take into account repairs and maintenance and things like that, it really wasn't a huge difference. One of the other downsides is the way the car is laid out. It's actually really difficult for people who aren't super flexible to get in. The top of the door is kind of low, And then because the car is already low and it has the batteries in the bottom, it makes it so where your feet come in is a little bit higher. So really it's just a bad combination in my opinion. I feel like Tesla would have done a lot better if they'd made the roof even a couple inches higher. Once you're in, it's totally fine, but getting in and out for people who aren't very agile, it's just a pain.
I'd also add to that the first time I got into a Model S, I got into the back seat, and it felt a little crowded getting in, but after you've been getting in and out of the car for a while, you don't even notice it. So it's one of those things where like muscle memory kicks in and you get used to it super fast, but that was one thing I noticed.
Because of where we live, there's a lot of people that think that, oh, it's an electric car, it's slow, I'm gonna roll coal. They think it's a cool thing to do. I don't see the fun behind that, and Kelly doesn't even notice it most of the time. But when I'm driving, I always have people trying to roll coal on me. I love when people just roll coal on me one time, and then at the next light, I just whoop them off the line. And it totally catches them off guard, because a lot of people think an electric car, it's gonna be like a Prius.
There are a lot of people that ask us if our car is slow or how fast it can go, and we're like, our car is very quick, it can go very fast very quickly, and they don't really believe us until they experience it.
Okay, so one of the biggest problems in my opinion with the Tesla is charging. When charging locations are not convenient. So I'm gonna give an example here. I live in Spanish Fork, Utah. My buddy lives out here in Burley, Idaho. He lives in Burley, Idaho. These are pretty normal consumption rates for me. I usually go a little over the speed limit, things like that. I set charger arrival and goal arrival charge at 6%, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a few things in the car, no big deal, right? So here we go, plan route. So this says stop in Tremonton for 16 minutes. 16 minutes is just enough time to grab a bite to eat, go to the bathroom real fast, stretch, and keep going. So if I were to do the return trip home, it's not just 16 minutes in Tremonton again, because I have to get from Burley back to Tremonton. So let's see what happens here. So we're gonna do a return trip back to Spanish Fork, Utah, plan route. So now all of a sudden, because there's no supercharger or other charging locations really in the area, is my stop in Tremonton just went from 16 minutes to 34. Then I have to go all the way out to Twin Falls over here to top off basically, so spend another hour there, then go to Burley, so then I can go back to Tremonton and top off in Tremonton and Salt Lake if I wanted to on the way home. I could make the stop in Tremonton on the way back a little bit longer than 16 minutes so I don't have to stop in Salt Lake, but this is ridiculous. I know that eventually Burley is actually getting a supercharger, which is great. I would love that. It's very convenient for me. But there's lots of places still in the US that you can reach a supercharger fine one way, but going back, it's not happening. So that's one of my biggest frustrations personally with an electric car. I do think that it's going to get better with time, the charging infrastructure building out. But as of right now, there still is a lot of work that needs to be done. One of the many reasons why I think that Teslas or electric cars still aren't for everybody.
One thing that I don't like is most cars have a pocket on the back of the seats, and the Tesla does not. So when I'm in the back, I don't have anywhere to put anything. And there aren't cup holders in the back, which is a downfall for people who are doing long distance in the back seat. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have anything that you want to see in the future or any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments and we'll try to get to that as soon as we can. And we hope you have a fantastic day.